Well, just out for a little bit of a woods walk here. It is actually not that cold out. I'm really kind of surprised that it isn't as cold. We've had I don't know, about a week or so here that has been absolutely brutal. Single digits at night. A couple nights it was below 0 Fahrenheit. And today it is, according to my watch anyway, 37 degrees. It's pretty nice. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to do a little bit of a woods walk. I want to get down to a frozen pond and try out my drone. Oh my goodness, it's a drone. Don't worry, I'm not in New Jersey. And I don't work for any foreign governments or anything else. And I do have a license. So anyway, it's really quiet out here. Shouldn't bother anybody, but I do want to try it. See what it's all about. I'm also doing a brief review on it too, because I want to see whether or not it's simple and easy to operate for someone who's never flown a drone before. So I guess we'll see how this goes. Didn't think it'd be too icy out here, but then again, you just never know, do you? I figured I'd bring my trekking poles. Wow, they must be out ice fishing. Well, I guess we won't be flying a drone here, will we? If I do that, people will be all bent out of shape. Well, I was really hoping there wouldn't be anybody there. Well, that really fucked up my plans. Is it just me, or is it anymore when you have a place in mind that you're going to go to that should be really remote and quiet? When you get there, there's always a bunch of people there. I do forget sometimes how effective trekking poles are, even if you have a foot injury. They really make a big difference. Take a little bit of weight off that foot. Makes a big difference. Have to thank the wife. I never used them. She couldn't figure out why I didn't. We'd go on hikes. She'd use a set. I didn't. Eventually, she got me a pair. I think it was for my birthday. Started using them. Felt like I looked a little like a tool. But man, they are awesome. And of course, the older you get, the less you give a shit about how you look, right? Actually, the less you give a shit about a lot of things. Think about when you're in the supermarket and that 80-something-year-old woman or guy. Sometimes it's funnier, though, when it's a woman. Lets one rip right down the aisle. Full volume. Doesn't even look around. Face doesn't change color. No embarrassment. Just rips ass right there in the produce aisle, or I don't know, canned goods. Doesn't matter if there's nobody in the aisle or 30 people right before a holiday weekend. And you just have to laugh. Not that bad yet, but I'm not that far away either. Looks like this was a bit of a freaking bust. So maybe I'll have to just do kind of a tabletop review, unless I decide to mosey down this road a little bit further to the next body of water. I don't think, well, shouldn't be anybody trying to do ice fishing there, being that there's a current and there won't be any ice. Although, with today's bumper crop of brilliant people Somebody might have tried that. Although if they did, that might be fun to video. Let's go see if we can find some carnage. Right? Let's give it a shot. See if we can find dumb people doing dumb things. Well, see what we see, right? Maybe we'll catch an alien Bigfoot running across the road. An invisible alien Bigfoot running across the road. Hour grooming operations. Nice spot for a line of sight. I have no desire to fly this thing to a spot where I can't see it. Now it's supposed to do that, and on top of that, why the hell would I want to do that? Something happens to it, I'll never get it back. And not only am I grumpy, I'm also cheap. There we go. Oh, I guess we probably should record some of that, huh? Apparently there's a me. Hello, me. How's me doing? Actually, me's getting a little hungry. Yeah, these things are... If you can see them, and you're not someone I think that would take and run this thing out in the middle of who knows where, I don't think that they're really super difficult to fly. But at the same time, I really think that matters as far as how you're going to go about doing what you're doing, you know what I mean? As far as whether or not you're going to make some serious mistakes. And when you're just relying on the camera and your phone, like if I don't look at it, even though it is in line of sight, I see somebody beam themselves in the head with a drone. That could happen. I'm not even kidding. I could totally do that. I am not dumb enough to try that. Well, now granted, I am flying this on cine mode. I am not trying to fly this thing at full speed or even in normal mode. But it is pretty cool. It's nerve-wracking. I will say that. It's a little on the nerve-wracking side. Yeah. A little bit on the nerve-wracking side. like I said, folks, I'm cheap. Okay, I think this cost me with the whole kit $450 some. It sounds like a really pissed off bug. Well, you can see why people like them. Gives you a totally different perspective on things. That's cool. That's fun. How those drone pilots do all that crazy, super fast, all over everywhere stuff and loop through tunnels and through buildings and everything else. Well, hats off to you guys, seriously. That's some crazy stuff right there. Well, that's pretty freaking cool. Now people just learn how to fly these things without being buttholes, right? Wouldn't that be a thing? Wouldn't that be a thing? All right. Well, this is the conclusion of my initial drone flight. Call it a quick tabletop review of what someone who is not a professional in the world of drones at all, period. Not even close. But this is the drone I was flying today, which is the DJI Mini 4K. It is incredibly simple to operate. It's one of those things where, I don't know, it feels like a toy. And when you first take it out, you set it down on the ground and you kind of go through all this, all the pre-flight stuff, if you will, and you launch it for the first time. This thing, I mean, it doesn't weigh anything. I think it's 248 grams. Very surprised at how responsive it is. It's quick. It is fun. Like I said, I don't have a background in flying these things. Did I find it to be super difficult? No. I'm also not someone who's going to grab the thing, fire it up, and just take off full speed. I I don't do that with anything. I always kind of check it, investigate, go slow, learn as much as I can about it. Today was its first actual, like, real flight. When I picked it up the first time, had it delivered to my house, so on and so forth. Picked it up, put it together, blah, blah, went outside, fired it up. And just used it for maybe 5 minutes on, just around my house. And it was cool. It really was. And I've been waiting to have a better day and the time to be able to get out and actually fly it. And I did today. And like I said, it was a ton of fun. It was not, overly difficult to fly. I do have a drone license. I had already taken care of that last year. I just hadn't committed to buying one at that point. So overall, I'm glad I did. If you are thinking about getting a drone, you definitely want to do a little research. I figured the moment I took delivery of this, they'd probably outlaw the stupid things or whatever because people just can't control their innate desires to be raging a-holes. I don't know why. That expression, this is why we can't have nice things. Anyway, back to the drone. The kit that I got was the drone itself, which at the time of this video is $299 for just the drone, but I spent the extra money and actually got the kit. So I got the 3 batteries. This thing charges all 3 batteries at once, which is nice. So you're not just charging one at a time. It does have the ability to, on the end of it here, that you can, I'm not sure if that's coming in focus, I think it is. But anyway, you plug into the USB-C to charge it, but you can plug into the standard USB to power other things. So like if your phone was dead or something like that, you had a USB to whatever it is that you have, you can plug it in, click this, and if these batteries are charged, it'll transfer the power from these to that. I don't know how fast it does that. I haven't really messed with it yet, but as I understand, that is something it can do. So the controller, it's really simple. It's easy to use. Anybody who's my age or younger has obviously grown up with click, 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 video games, right? So it's very much like just a slightly bigger video game controller. What I would like to mention, though, briefly, to folks, if you have an iPhone that uses a lightning port for plug-in, that is here, but they already pre-install it. Okay, so in other words, you're going to find that the plug, you're going to see a bunch of these little short leads, okay, that are like USB-C to USB-C. Those are for Android phones. And at first, I didn't realize, I'm like, holy crap, what do they have something against the older Apple phones? No, they don't. It comes inside of this. I don't know, you probably can't see it, but it's right in here, and it comes pre-wrapped. So if you have an older iPhone like me, I have a 13 mini, just take a second, check that. That's where it is. So you're good. It's very, the controller and how it interacts with the drone, it's really responsive. I mean, it's right on it. And what's so nice about it is if you have this moment of like, whoops, just let go of the sticks, just stop. And the drone will, no matter how fast you're going, it comes to an abrupt stop. It's quick. And that's great, because I have had a few moments where I'm like, because you're looking at your drone through your phone, which is nested up here. When you're doing that, you're looking at it from the perspective of like sitting in the drone, like your car, and you're driving it. If you are solely flying that way, I have to say it's probably the best way to do it because you don't get confused. But if you're flying in that manner, and then you look up at your drone, and your eyes are now focused on it up here, your brain says, I need to go left, but it's, how should I put it? It's inverted, right? So your controls are kind of backwards to a degree, because now you're not first person, you're third person. So that takes a little bit getting used to. And that's just with anything. It's hours in the seat, doesn't matter what it is. You just need the experience. I certainly do. I only used it on Cine mode. It actually has 3 modes: Cine, Normal, and Sport. I'm sure you've seen this also if you've researched any of this. I did put it on Sport for just a minute, but that was when I got back home. And it's quick. It's plenty fast. One thing I would mention, and I had to look this up, if you are recording video with this drone, it may be with all drones, I don't know, I have no experience in any other ones, but with this one, if you are making a recording, you want to take the video and either hit the stop record on your phone, because that's linked to the controller, or hit the trigger, the front trigger button here, which is the start and stop for video and photo function. If you don't hit that button and you just power the drone off, it'll corrupt the file of what it is that you just did. So if you flew for 20 minutes and you shut it off, by depowering the drone rather than manually stopping the video, then depowering the drone, it'll corrupt the file. Now, what I did discover is that if you do that, and I don't know how often this works, whether or not I just got lucky, whether or not it works all the time, part of the time, 80%, I have no idea. If you turn the drone back on, right, so you take your little micro SD out, you go to load it up, and it just tells you, nope, nothing can read it, nothing can read it, nothing can read it. Put it back in the drone, power up the drone, take off, I did anyway. I flew around for a minute, took another video. Manually stopped the video, then depowered the drone. Took out the SD card, the little SD, and lo and behold, it finished basically writing the main flight time, if you will, of the drone, the major video. And then, of course, I had this little tiny video at the end that I had made. So if you run into that, it's operator error. It's because you turned off the power to the drone without stopping the video first. So it's one of those things you don't know until you do it, and then you realize, oh, damn, nice, oops. But it is what it is. Overall, I think it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. It really is. I think the biggest thing, though, is be responsible with the things. You know, don't be flying over people's houses and hovering in their backyard. I understand the airspace, you know, you don't own it over your house. I get that. Or wherever you are, unless you're a military installation. Totally understand that. But that doesn't mean that you should be a dick about it either. You know, you want to be hovering over people's houses. If you're at point A, and I mean, technically, by law, you're supposed to have them in sight of you anyway. But if you're trying to go over something else that happens to, suppose there's a couple of houses and you're trying to get to this little pond or something or whatever it is, that you can get this really beautiful, setting sun or sunrise or whatever it might be. Just do it quickly. You know, don't be like skimming rooftops and hovering in front of people's windows. I mean, all this stuff should go without saying. But today, I mean, what was it? My wife had seen something. The old car owner's manuals from years ago used to in detail explain to the person who purchased the car how to be able to adjust the points to keep their car running properly, right? Because they didn't have electronic ignition. Today, they basically, don't drink the battery acid out of the battery. Kind of says something about the population, doesn't it? You know, you go from adjusting points in vehicles, expecting and anticipating that the average person is going to be able to figure that out. And now today they tell you, just don't open the battery and drink the acid. So, I don't know. This could take a nasty turn in a different direction that will really ruin the rest of this video. So, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say is, if you're on the fence about a drone and you think they're hard to fly, they're not, at least not this one. If you are looking to get into one cheap and have a little bit of fun, these are awesome. But no matter what you do, be responsible about it, okay? You know, I'm sick and tired of people ruining stuff for the people out there who are responsible just because they are assholes. So, I guess in all things, if there's a lesson, right? Don't be an asshole. So, anywho, hope you guys have a good evening. And any questions or comments, I will do my best, if they're questions, to be able to answer them. But you might be better off looking somewhere else to ask questions because I don't have enough experience yet. But if you still insist on it, I'll do my best. So anyway, thank you. Like I said, have a good evening. Take care. See you again soon.